Good day, Brittle Planet listeners. This is Eric Peterson, and today I am joined by the singer of the 69 Eyes, Jyrki. Jyrki, thanks for joining me, and how are you doing today?
Well, it's busy. It's the end of the year,
Yeah.
uh, and the Six and Ice will still play a couple of shows upcoming weekend here in Finland, and we recorded a Christmas song a couple of years ago, and now it's a time to play it. We really never played it live, so we were just actually rehearsing it, and I had to rush back home for this interview. So those kind of
Wow.
those kind of things
I
are
feel
happening.
honored. I feel
So
honored.
just yeah, yeah. Well, what do you know?
Um,
But here we are.
so what I was going to
And
do, I
it's
was,
the end of the decade, and I've been counting on back and forward for the fact that the 69 Eyes has been, playing rock and roll on 5 decades.
mm-hmm,
It's kind of weird.
it is.
Like we turned to 30 this year, but we've been playing on 5 decades: 80s, 90s. What do you call millennium?
Yeah.
And then the 10, and then the teens, and now the 20s.
Yeah.
So.
Good for you.
Crazy.
Uh,
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's good for the planet.
yeah. So I was going to ask you if we could. I just did an interview with. I did the Static X tour with Wednesday,
Yeah.
and him and I had fun on his bus, and we did Friday the 13th trivia, and
All right. Cool.
he says that you are the master at 80s hair metal trivia.
Oh yeah. Well, it goes like this. That we been touring with Wednesday 13 in the past, which is over 10 years ago, and like couple of tours, England, Central Europe in general, and then an American tour. And what we do on the tour, well, we did a lot of things then, but what we can talk about is like we we had a 80s hair metal trivia competition once a while, and because back then, 2000, let's say 2007, 2005, nobody, those days were so much further than they are right now.
Oh yeah.
That was just like I remember coming to first time. The 69 Eyes came first time to tour in the States, and there was the television in our tour bus, and then we were watching like a satellite TV, like local American channels, and then there was VH1, that was playing still music,
Yep.
and in that way, and they there was like all of a sudden, it was like the the same. It was the same, like the same videos from the 80s that what was inspiring us, and that was like wow, because there was like 20-year break. Now we're talking about the year 2005, so there was like actually 20-year break.
Yeah.
Or like when you heard or seen those videos, and all of a sudden VH1 started to blast them out. So it was fantastic to tour in the States. We were just like when it wasn't like Huey Lewis and the News hits on TV, it was like the Poison and the Rat and everything, all that stuff. So that was fantastic, and that was not cool then. It was just becoming like cool. It was like our favorite music, like pretty much. But later on it became a trend, and like now you can and those times are, well, they're pretty much back in once a while now. Once a while, why not in a movie or even stadium tour?
Yeah.
So, but those days they were very far behind, and basically it was like, yeah, well, we were glamorous, of course, like everybody, pretty much everybody else has been at some point. So so though we with Wednesday 13, we were just like talking about it because it was really cool, because we were still celebrating like long forgotten records of the bands like LA Guns or Faster Pussycat, which are just like actually after now 15 years later, they are like the last crusaders who still just like really like last rock and roll bands like which are playing, which actually I jumped to the thing that I was thinking like what to talk about in these interviews, because what news to say. So one of the things is like I was just thinking of it because it's always been endlessly asked now as the 16 and I's turn to 30, like what's going on, how come you guys still go on, and blah blah. Strange questions like how can you tolerate each other and things like this, which have nothing to do with real life, So so I just like, if you really think of like all these bands which started in the 80s, like hardcore punk bands, metal bands, hard rock bands, rockabilly bands, goth bands, no matter what style, probably reggae and ska included, they're still around. Especially if you think of punk rock, all these old school classic early 80s British hardcore punk bands, they're doing touring more than ever worldwide now. And same with every other band which is active. It's actually from the 80s, and naturally I consider the 69 Eyes as what we are, even though we started in the very last months of the 80s, but like 80s bands. So coming to the thing that there was some different, those days there was no example of like a couple of bands in the 80s had split up and changed their plans, and there was a couple of solo artists like Ozzy Osbourne and Alice Cooper, and then they were changing members in their solo bands, and that was always confusing. Like, oh, these guys played on this record, why don't they play on the new record or something like that?
Yeah.
And but there was no example that bands would ever break up or change members, or if some band or even singers, which was like nobody could ever think of that. And so so that was a mentality when you started the band in the 80s. Yeah, it was like it would go on forever.
Yeah,
there was no example. Rolling Stones was there, the Ramones, So and Sex Pistols was gone, and then that was the only example. Oh no, that band stopped. But and then there was no. That's the idea. When you put up the band in the 80s, you're still around, and you are still around.
Yep.
Most of them still are.
Yeah.
And that's actually, and if you think of the bands which have started like where, let's say, 90s, they pretty much finished because of they were probably part of that some genre which was happening then, or later on, of course, it's or all of a sudden it's becoming it's a way to have a band that you are changing members, and for every tour, every record, singer can be different that next time around, and so on. So and then somebody owns the name of the band.
Yeah,
the list is endless. But like when we started the band, I was like that. The band was what even we started at the 69 Eyes. That was meant to be forever, And it seems like it's not only like us. If you really look at even though there have been gaps between some bands being active, especially the British punk bands and some metal bands even, but strangely, all those 80s bands are still around, and then they're like stadium tour, like that. Some of those bands were started in the late 70s even, but basically I don't know, it's a bit different.
Like Foreigner's still around, and they're touring and like crazy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it was a different mindset
Yeah.
when you started a band,
So,
like back then.
so you
that's
guys are going
always
on
been.
tour.
Pardon?
You guys are going on tour just in a few
Yeah,
weeks.
yeah, exactly. So we're finally so also like, which was like I think the 69ers have done something, well, some unique moves, like just hopefully make some other bands brave enough to try that as well. So
Yeah.
when we were like last, like I told you about these first American tour dates for us, like in the 2006 or
Yeah.
something like that. So and then all of a sudden, like there's now movies about year 2008
Yeah.
and 2009. I just watched, like there's this movie with J Lo called Hustlers, and,
Oh,
and
yeah.
that was like it, it was it just woke me up, because in that movie it explains how everything changed in the strip club scene like year 2009.
Yeah.
And I was like, hold on, that's the last time we were in the States.
Yeah.
And everything changed in the music business.
Yep.
So it's like, so it's like, all right, so okay, strip clubs pretty much gone. We are on touring in the States for another decade. Okay, well, that happened. And then back before before that decade happened, we were told, for instance, endlessly, like, you have to keep the momentum if you want to exist on American music market. And there were some examples of like Swedish bands who were touring endlessly there to keep the momentum, even probably some Finnish metal bands. But times changed, strip clubs got closed, and the 69 Eyes didn't appear in the States for another decade as well. And then, all of a sudden we come back this year in the springtime after a decade, and it's amazing. The fans are still there.
Yep.
And what was really heartwarming was like, well, the shows were full. And what was really heartwarming was like, we released a couple of records between those years that we were absent from the American road. People were with those records, like physical products in their hands. Like, can you sign this? Sort of like they have home their album that we released 2009, but these two new records, which were between our visits, that needed to not be clarified with our signature. So that was really cool and really nice. And they told that, I love this record, and I was like, I didn't know what exactly to expect. I was in my wildest dreams, I thought that maybe there's gonna be a bunch of kids who or rockers who still remember us or something, or younger generation. But it was basically like we just took the time warp back to 2010 and continued, like nothing have happened, and strip clubs were going really good again.
Yeah, well, I caught your show here in Salt Lake City, and I loved it. I had so much fun. I got some good pictures of you guys, and I had a blast. And so I'm excited.
Cool.
I'm excited for this new tour with you and Wednesday. I think it's going to be a blast.
Yeah, thank you. It's and it's perfect in that sense that we've been talking by far. So it's just like really makes sense, and like now as we let's say broke the ice to North America, so it's good to come back again, and it's fantastic to have this new record, which like that ended certain chapter with the 69 Eyes when we did this like long homecoming back tour earlier this year. So, and then right after that, we had new music coming out, like new single, and then later on new album. So we're really and I am really excited to come back and play those new songs and new set, and see all these people, and they really matter, and one of the things which matters me the most is really the road, the American road. That's something that I didn't know how much I missed it, but like now I just can't get enough. Like I don't know. I feel like at this age during this time, I just feel very peaceful to be on the road, and I feel like I've been being nervously, endlessly like going around the world. But I think sort of like feel like I found my place and I found my thrill, to be on that American road. Well, basically, all the road anywhere in the world is the same. American road is a little bit more poetic, and it has its like different moments than anywhere else. But I enjoy, and I'm glad I can have chance to return again.
Good. Well, since Wednesday crowned you the king of 80s hair metal trivia, do you have a few minutes and do you want to do a few questions and we'll test you?
Oh, I think I won because I had a couple of inside information.
No, do you want to do some right now?
Questions to him. No, it's like I don't want to reveal everything, but you can try me. I mean, it depends.
Okay, let's.
Well, I probably suck because it's been a while since I played this game, but it's good to rehearse.
Okay, well, what I would like to do is I would like to get you guys in the room together on the tour, and we'll do like an all-out throwdown of it. But
yeah, we have to do that.
Okay, so the first question I have for you is a pretty easy one. It's in the Motley Crue song "Girls, Girls, Girls." Where does Vince Neil lose his heart?
That is hard. I to be honest, I have no idea.
It's the Tropicana. Tropicana. Remember, the Tropicana.
Okay.
I lost my heart.
Yeah, I know. Okay.
Okay.
That is hard. That is about lyrics. I mean,
okay.
Trivia is more like about like who played on this and whose album is called this and that.
Oh, okay, I got that one.
And sort of like this kind of stuff, which is funny and interesting because we're just like geeks and freaks, and it could be about horror movies or Marvel comics from the golden age, or it could be like as well as 80s hair metal, and that was back then. It is true, still cool. There's a lot of stuff that inspired us a lot, and we have like genuine respect for that, for all these bands, and which sort of like bigger audience never even discovered, but we discovered them, and then they inspired us a lot, and we're geeks of that stuff, or we were. I mean, it's like
I get you.
It's time has changed a little bit from that time, but it's still cool,
Okay, I got one just like you were asking.
That lyrics is.
I've got one that's not lyrics. So what was the name of the bassist who played on Dawkins' debut album?
That is not. Okay. No, that is impossible.
Okay.
Who's that?
It's Juan Crasher from Rat.
Oh, all right. Okay, all right. You. Okay, I need to go back to school.
Okay, so I say what we do is we all study up, and then when you guys are on the road, we get together and we have like a trivia fest, and that would be fun.
Of course, and it's all about like celebrating these guys, their music, and what they created, and sort of like bringing back to there was like after that, like let's say 10 years ago, there was like this hard rock, glam rock, hair metal, like resurrection by some younger bands, especially from Sweden, and that's kind of funny that the 69 I sort of like especially we did just a European tour, so it depends on which country we are.
Okay.
So for instance, when we played in Italy, that we would just notice that by ourselves, like just before going on stage. We were in Italy. They were playing like classic glam, like Faster Pussycat, L.A. Guns, stuff like that. And then when we are in Germany, they play like Sisters of Mercy, and Marilyn Manson, and like the Mission. So it's kind of like it depends on like in Italy they think that we are a glam band, and in Germany we are goth band. And it's just like it's really like it's really cool because like you notice when you are there in the back at the backstage getting ready to the show, and then there's a DJ, entertaining the audience, and you're like, what? They're playing like pure glam here, and it's like sort of like, oh, hold on, did you see that the advertisement is actually on pink or something like that? And then in Germany it's black and white, and everybody's wearing black, and then in Italy you go on stage and you see guys with their bandanas in the audience. So it's like it's cool. I love that. I mean, this is the way it should have been. It's great.
Yeah. So the new album, I was just going to tell you, I wanted to let you know that it made Brittle Planet Magazine's top 10 albums, and and one of your photos that I took from the Salt Lake show made one of my top 10 photos of the year. So.
Oh, cool.
So.
Cool. I don't remember it by heart, but I have to see that.
Yeah.
The only thing from Salt Lake was like, I don't know if you're friends with probably or what's your relation, but there's this famous music store,
the Heavy Metal Shop.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I sort of like it's an iconic. They have iconic merch, and it's an iconic store.
Yep.
I don't know what happened, but I sort of like just realized like right after leaving Salt Lake City, like, hold on, I didn't go there, and I never been there, and now we're not coming to Salt Lake City, but that's one of the like as a rocker and a fan of fanboy culture, so that's one of the places that I fucked up not going to. So there's something in Salt Lake City that I'm looking forward to do next time.
Yeah, it's you're right. It is an iconic place. I mean, it's. I know the owner well, and he's a good guy, and he's been as he says, he's been peddling evil since 1985.
Yeah. So that's I'm looking forward to. But you had actually like extremely good, good Mexican restaurant, which serves like one of the best margaritas I've had for years. It's called Blue Iguana.
Ah, Blue Iguana, yes, very good place.
Yeah, it's really good, mind-blowing margaritas. I that's one place I need to go again.
Yeah.
I don't know how they do it, but it's very different than anywhere else.
Yeah, they have good food there. So
yeah.
And so you're going out on this tour, and you're going to play some of the new. Do you have your set list already and everything for the new tour?
Yeah, absolutely. Like we're playing something like half of the new record.
Nice,
and it's really fits well there. Like and it was like we've been touring, we've been on the road for this record already half a year, so nearly. I'm a little bit exaggerating, but so it's really cool to see also the reaction of fans, and it's just like the new songs fit with the best of our like older tracks.
Yeah.
So it's not that it's really cool, and on the other hand, it's also like a big difference. It's like. Well, I noticed, and I think I noticed that if we play the songs in the countries where people speak English, as their mother tongue, so you guys, you sort of like get the lyrics differently than in some other countries. There's a fine line between that, and it's really interesting to see, because I'm very satisfied as a guy who writes the lyrics that you guys get what I've been after, and if somebody doesn't exactly, who's not speaking English, doesn't exactly that necessarily realize what I'm referring to, or got the double meaning or something,
Yeah.
which I love to put there. It doesn't matter. It's just rock and roll and cool music. But it's especially in the States, people seem to actually sometimes even tell me what the song's about, or asking me about, like, oh, you meant this, or this just happened, or something like that, and I'm like kind of like. Then they sometimes even open up for me, like what I've been writing to. So that's a really nice discussion. And as a artist, and I want to develop myself all the time, and I'm happy that like people, and they get something out of what we've been creating. So that's a really nice discussion.
Good.
And it's really rewarding, and especially always in the States, it's really like. I mean, you guys sing more along the words, of course, in that sense. But it depends, of course, also about wherever you play. But it's a fantastic experience in general to create rock and roll, be on the road all around the world, and people are, reflecting what you're doing differently. And nowadays, the art form of rock and roll is mainly the main purpose for that, and the main way to represent that is live.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like there was still. I remember doing interviews way back when people were asking. I didn't know I don't remember what I even answered. I couldn't even understand the question. But like, which you like most, being in the studio or being like on the road, and then somebody might answer that studio is coolest. I don't like traveling or something. But I for me it's the opposite. It's like right now, and after the years, it's like I enjoy to be in the stage in front of people, and going through the songs and trying to create some magic there that we can share.
Yeah.
It's pretty poetic right now, but Christmas is near, so
yes, it is.
Something to do with it.
And so you guys are doing a couple shows for Christmas back in Helsinki?
Here in Finland,
okay.
Like in other towns, like during this upcoming weekend, and we released like I said, we released a Christmas single, which like every band wants to do once in their career. We released it like a couple of years ago, so this is the only time. I've been actually thinking, like, why don't we play it like every night, just for fuck you.
Yeah.
But it's just like we're gonna play it this weekend. So
nice.
It's gonna be funny.
Well, good. It's good to talk to you, and I'm looking forward to seeing you.
Well, I'm full of life, man, and I'm bringing us back to the American road, and that's a place to be free.
Yeah.
And that's a place to dream.
Yes, exactly.
And that's a place to make the dreams come true.
Yes.
So it's all about magic that God's given us.
And the 69 the 69 Eyes are going to make magic on this tour next year. So
supported by like the devil with two horns up.
Yes.
But still we're still good guys.
Yes. Well, thank you for your time, and I appreciate it. And I'll see you on the road.